Hey guys, welcome back to Pavalauda, and welcome back to Café Enchanté. Everything is bad. So, even though we kind of like made up with Rindo, and Rindo like seems to have kind of like accepted his fate and etc. and stuff like that, Mikado has decided to overtake the GPM building. It's covered in this gross goo. I don't know what's going on. He also told us the story about how Shizuku actually became a monster, like became a type 2 or type 3 non-human, and it's pretty much what we expected. The GPM's not exactly a good government organization. They secretly were funding research to turn humans into non-humans, to like make breakthroughs and stuff like that. It's very unethical. We're gonna get right into it. Yikes. Mr. Mikado finishes his cruel and hopeless story. We're shocked. We frown hearing it. With the story fresh in our minds, we arrive at the top of the building.
来てくれて感謝するよ、二人とも。こんなところで申し訳ないけど、歓迎だ。
The winds swirl amid the towering buildings. There stood Mikado, exhausted and ready to fall. Also, ooh, good. There's a peculiar non-human that looks like some kind of solidified black liquid. I wouldn't call that black, it was like pink, but is that Shizuku?
ああ、間違いないよ。
Mr. Mikado's doll, Ku's true form is in front of us. Mikado's lover transformed, all because of the number 2 R&D department. Mr. Rindo's younger sister. I love how the artist did this, where they have like the fox mask, right? And they have like some of the goo or whatever it is dripping down from its eye, like it's crying. I think that's a great addition. But her form is so peculiar that it's hard to imagine she was once a human. Once a human. I don't know what I said, once. Her face and her form showed no signs of intelligence or emotion.
リンド、正直僕はすごくホッとしているんだ。君が理性を保ったまま人外化してくれて。君を助けたいという気持ちは本物だった。けどもし他の検体のように暴走してしまったら、そんな一末の不安もあったのだよ。
Oh, that's right. He mentioned that all the subjects failed and went on a rampage, including Shizuku. Mikado nods to me as if he knew what was on my mind.
人ならざる者になる過程では、被験者の体は脳も含め、文字通りの意味で別のものへと作り変えられる。
I also want to mention the risk. Like, really? You had Kotone risk that? He could have killed her. Like, God, I don't understand. Oh my god.
脳が変わるんだから精神構造も変わる。理性は削られ、より原初の感情が優先されるようになる。つまり。
And also, I feel like, I mean, I guess primal emotions, like if you transformed at the GPM, you're going to be filled with like an anger and like trying to get out. So maybe that's what it means. But like with Rindo, I guess maybe because he didn't have the instinct to flee, it didn't happen to him? I don't know.
恨み、怒り、失望、絶望。人外化の際に抱いた負の感情がそのまま強く出るってことだろう。
Wait, so that's why Shizuku and the subjects went on a rampage?
ご名答。だからリンドウが曲がりなりにもその姿を保ち、そして理性を保持しているのは、人外化への絶望よりも 生き延びることへの希望、そして何より。
What? So because Rindo actually like wasn't afraid, he was able to survive. So the other people could have survived if they weren't afraid. Oh my god. Mikado shows an expression of joy and sorrow.
君という存在が強く起因しているのだと僕は踏んでいるんだ。
He lets out an eerie smile.
まあデータも何もないただの直感。科学者らしからぬ言葉だと自分でも理解しているよ。その他にも僕の方で拒絶反応ができる限り出ないよう、実の妹である雫の血をベースにメタプラジアを改良したり、様々な要因が絡んでこそと理解しているがね。
Oh my god, so he like received some of his sister's blood and through his mouth. Oh, Colton had that in her mouth too. Ew, god. God. Mikado's haughtiness and attitude as a researcher has disappeared. Instead, he looks like a completely different person as he gazes at Shizuku.
しかしそれが君の人外としての姿だとすれば、実の兄弟でも随分な差異が出たね。
何とでも言えばいい。人間をやめてまでここに来たんだ。お前が何を考えていようと、僕は
Oh!
ここでお前を止めてみせる。
Oh my god, I think he is transforming on the other side too. I think it's like more than just half of his body, because it affected both of his hands now. Like before, I think it was just one of his hands, no? Maybe I'm crazy. Well, we're gonna have to rewind the tape for that one. But the air stands still and fills with tension. It feels like the place will devolve into chaos with a slight move. I've never seen him do this pose either. That is an interesting pose. Mikado smiles.
何を考えていてもか。それは本当なのかな。例えば君や雫が人間に戻れる可能性があったとしても。
Huh? As if he expected our reactions, Mikado spreads his arms and gleefully begins to speak.
雫は他者の生命力を吸うたびに少しずつ感覚を取り戻しているんだ。彼女は今まさに人間へと戻っている最中なんだ。そうだよね、雫。
Look at his face. He's gone crazy, like mad scientist crazy, off the wall.
「聞こえただろ。今までの何を話しかけても反応しなかった。クーちゃんとは違う。
Oh, I don't like it.
もう僕の名前を呼ぶところまで雫は帰ってきてくれたんだよ。
Mikado looks overjoyed by his announcement. He looks more crazy than overjoyed. I don't know. Horror, sorrow, suffering. Various emotions are flowing within me, making me sick. Mikado, you're...
先ほども言った通りだが、リンドウの人外化は雫の血をベースにした薬によるもの。つまりリンドウも雫と同じ人の命を奪うことで元の人間へ戻っていく、そんな特性を宿している可能性があるんだ。それでも君たちは僕らを否定するのかい。
ミカド、お前ってやつ。
Mr. Rindo repositions himself. He must have taken it negatively. Mikado looks sad and in pain, but...
何が不満なんだ。 リンド、雫が元に戻れるんだ。彼女を殺したこの忌々しい組織を土台にして、優しくてバカ正直で真面目でただただ甘党で、僕との未来を語っては幸せそうに笑っていた彼女をこいつらは殺したんだよ。
His hatred explodes. The shadow flowing from Shizuku's body begins to intensify. It's as if she's responding to his hatred.
僕と雫の何を咎めようって言うんだ。奴らは自分勝手な都合で彼女を殺した。そんな奴らに何のためらいがいるんだよ。
So I can understand him killing like like whoever was leading the project, like the deputy commissioner or whatever his name was, and like the people in that R&D department who are like actively killing people, but not the other like officers who had nothing to do with it and had no idea that it was happening. Like, you can't just kill everybody in the building because some evil like division decided to do this. Like, I don't know. Ugh, God. Mr. Rindo bites down on his lip as though he's enduring a sharp pain from every word he hears. I can't begin to fathom what kind of visceral emotions they must be experiencing. But... Mikado... But I know them. He loves Shizuku. His voice was filled with kindness each time he spoke about her. Even if Shizuku can return back to her human form, how many more innocent lives do you need to make that happen? Her shadow continues to spread. It's enough proof that the people inside of the GPM weren't enough to satisfy her. Even if she came back to you as a human, Shizuku wouldn't like what...
分かってる。言われなくても分かってるよ。雫は優しいから、それで人間に戻ったところで罪の意識に苦しむのも分かってる。でもね、それでも僕は戻ってほしいんだ。惚れた弱みってやつかな。
Yikes. That's what I was talking about. Like, that's just beyond selfish. The reddish-black shadow overflows the rooftop as it slowly increases.
罪なら僕が背負う。雫が後悔と苦悩で嘆くなら僕が支え続けていく。
ミカド、お前はそこまでして。
琴音くん、君ならこの気持ちがわかるはずだよ。林道のためにその業を全て背負ってでも生きてほしいと願った君なら。お願いだ。どうか僕たちに協力してほしい。僕と雫と君と林道と人間としての幸せを僕たちと一緒に取り戻そう。
His words are sweet and highly intoxicating. My response, oh shit. I'm gonna save. Yeah, let's just save. Let's just hopefully just not have to worry. Oh god. If we say I'll help, we're literally gonna help him kill millions, so that's not the right decision. I hope this is correct, but this means that Rindo will be a non-human for good. I'm sorry, Rindo. We've made our choice, you know? Returning Mr. Rindo back into a human, we could go back to being happy together like it used to be. I want him to be able to stand in daylight without fear. I want to walk around the theme park, lovingly holding his hand. I want to enjoy a wonderful meal at the gourmet bistro and stare into his eyes. Everything can be brought back. The offer is too sweet to refuse. But
悪いけど、その提案は拒否させてもらうよ、Mikado.
it was Mr. Rindo who turns his head away from the sweet allure. Mr. Rindo is smiling. The smile on his face is no different from before, even in his non-human form.
僕だって人間に戻れるものなら戻りたいさ。だけど、お前に協力するとは言えない。
理由を聞いても。
大前提として、他の誰かを犠牲にしてまで幸せになったとして、それを彼女が喜ぶはずがない。
Yeah.
それに、人間と人外が一緒になったとして、幸せになれないなんて決まり事はどこにもないんだ。
その逆もしかりだろう。それどころか格段に可能性は低いというのに、そんな当たり前のことを。
そうさ、当たり前で常識で普通のことだけど、もう僕はわからないだけで怯えることはやめたんだ。
All I ask is that you don't try to put distance between us over something we don't know. Yep, okay. Mind you, I'm not normal about Enchanté. You know, my normal isn't normal anymore.
僕たちの普通をなめるなよ、Mikado!
Mr. Rindo.
バカなことを。
He must know that we won't bite. Oh no. Mikado raises his arm, to which Shizuku extends her shadow into a claw. Oh! Mr. Rindo uses his own claws to deflect the incoming shadow. Oh snap. Mr. Rindo and Shizuku. Sparks fly with each attack. The siblings strike each other, then jump back to create space between them. Both have positioned themselves to protect the ones they love. Mr. Rindo covers me. Shizuku covers Mr. Mikado. There's no turning back at this point.
やはりこうなるのか。けれど、もう僕たちは引き返すことはできない。
だとしても止めることはできる。お前の友達としても、雫の兄としても。
Mr. Rindo repositions himself so that his non-human left side is facing towards them. Oh. A whisper. Shizuku lowers her head. Oh, Shizuku lowers her head down as if bowing. That's weird. They shouldn't have put the S there, I think. Suddenly. Oh. The shadow morphs into multiple hands flying towards us. That makes sense though, because she's like a not like she's fluid, you know? Mr. Rindo is cutting them apart so fast I can only catch small glimpses of his moves. He's moving beyond the speed of mortals. Mr. Rindo jumps into the air after Shizuku rises into the air too fast for me to keep up with. Ooh. The beast in Shadow's claws clash. A dull metallic sound resonates throughout the rooftop.
まったく、我が妹ながら手強いね。
Maybe it's because they're siblings, or maybe it's because they both hold the powers of non-humans. Their fight seems like they're
会話しているように見えないかい？
Mikado! I hear his voice amid the savage battle taking place in front of us.
そんなに身構えないでおくれ。非力な僕たちは互いに信じる者を見守るとしよう。
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. I just imagined like Kotone like jumping over and bopping him in the head or something.
僕たちの執念か君たちの希望かどちらにせよ最後には片方しか残らない
Mr. Rindo won't lose. My knees feel like jelly, but I need to force myself to be strong. I need to maintain my confidence and keep my eyes on Mr. Mikado. He looks at me and smiles.
同じ人外を愛した者同士だというのに何が違ったんだろうか
Well, for one thing, I think Mr. Rindo being a non-human after like a near-death experience makes a difference. He wasn't forced to become a non-human. I think that would also help.
僕と君の違いは一体何だったんだろう
I think also Shizuku being a non-communicative, non-human also doesn't help your case. A simple question. An honest question. As I contemplate how I can respond. Oh. Rindo! The battle was evenly matched until Mr. Rindo was knocked back to where I am. Mr. Rindo! I hurry to his side and lift him up. He isn't gravely injured, but I can see the pain in his face from the blows he's taken.
君たちの決意は理解したけれどどうあがいても雫を止めることは不可能だよ
What is this, like a
Rindo.
Pokemon battle? Like
雫は今この瞬間も絡め取った命の端々を貪り吸収しているいわば常に回復しながらの戦闘が可能冷静に考えるんだリンド覆せる戦力差じゃないだろ
But Mr. Mikado's words are proven by how Shizuku hasn't sustained a single wound throughout the battle. On the contrary, her black shadow is pulsating like waves on a shore as if it's gaining more power. Oh.
もういいじゃないかリンド雫もきっと君を殺したくはない今ならまだ間に合う僕たちを認められないのならどうか逃げてくれないか
It's coming from the bottom of his heart. Mr. Mikado's eyes flashed a sense of sorrow and care. But
無茶を言うなよミカド僕がそんな弱腰だと思うのか
Mr. Rindo gets back up to his feet and repositions himself. Shizuku simply raises her huge shadow-infused claw high above her head.
リンド琴音くんさよならだ
We won't survive this blow. The shadow comes straight down on us. Suddenly, Ignis? An explosion appears in front of us from below, followed by a roar.
何
Yes!
見たかカヌス狙い通りだろうが
Applause, please, applause.
いや屋上の4分の1を消し飛ばすのは狙い通りとは言わぬと思うが見ろ無事だったからいいものの危うく琴音を巻き込むところだったぞ
Leave it to Canis to just be like, oh, what have you done?
うっせ無事だったならいいじゃねえか
Canis? Ignis? Canis and Ignis jump out onto the roof.
なぜこの二人がここに
I thought Shizuku's shadow prevented the patrons from getting near here. Mikado and I are looking at them in astonishment, to which Ignis smiles and points his finger down.
確かに外からは入れねえだろうがここにはもう一つ抜け穴があるじゃねえか
ああ異世界からつながる 大きな抜け穴かな。
まさかベスティアのゲートから。
That's so smart. I honestly had no idea. That's the smartest thing I've ever heard.
ああ、ミシェルとイルが外の影を食い止めてるうちに俺たちはてめえを叩きに来たんだよ。
Way to go. That is such a good idea. Ignis points upward. I look up and see the two far up in the sky. Maybe it's just me, but it looks like those two are waving at me?
多勢での助力。戦いとしては褒められたものではないが、緊急事態ゆえ容赦はせん。
Oh, Shizuku.
ああ、卑怯とは言わないさ。雫だって周囲から力を奪いながらリンドウと戦っていたんだから。それにまだ決着はついたわけじゃない。おお。
Answering Mr. Mikado's call, Shizuku roars and causes the air around us to vibrate.
まだ諦めぬか。
ち、見てられねえな。リンド、てめえには悪いが速攻で。
What? My vision goes completely black. It was so sudden that I couldn't react at all. The shadow that was surrounding us has now turned into separate individual shadows that rushes each of us. Before we knew it, we've been captured. The shadow felt weird. It felt like I was sinking in a blend of water and mud. I could breathe fine, but every bit of strength in me has started to leave my body. And it also seemed to have affected the others. Everyone had lost their mobility.
もう少し話していたかったんだけど、彼らが乗り込んできてしまった以上、なりふり構っていられなくなったんでね。
Why are you doing this, Mikado? Why?
何せ、次は魔王と打天使の相手もしなくちゃならないんだ。
That...
今ここで、君たちの力をいただいていくよ。
Oh, God. I can hear Mikado's voice in the distance as my vision fades. Shizuku must be consuming us right now. Or maybe she's embracing us in sympathy in an attempt to console us. Not that I can tell. My vision goes completely black. The sounds all begin to fade away. Oh. What? A shrill shriek awakens my consciousness. I fall to the floor and look up to see Shizuku falling back with black liquid gushing out of her. Ew. I then see Mr. Rindo and his claw covered in the same black liquid.
なぜ動ける？雫の影に触れていたのに、なぜリンドウだけは動けるんだ？
Because he drank her blood! Oh my god! Oh my god.
その答えならお前が一番よくわかるんじゃないか、ミカド。
I see Canis and Ignis on the floor, unable to move, and likely with no power left within them. But Mr. Rindo stands in front to protect everyone.
雫をベースにした人外か。リンドウ、君が唯一無二の雫の抗体だというわけか。
Mr. Rindo turns to face Shizuku, who's teetering from her wound.
終わらせよう。
Mikado warps his face in disgust hearing his decision.
なんで諦めてくれないんだ、リンドウ。僕たちは互いに雫を思っていたじゃないか。なのにどうしてお前は諦めてくれないんだよ。
Mr. Rindo moves in one step at a time as Mikado continues screaming.
諦めないよ、僕は。 諦めるわけない。僕の目の前で大切な奴らが二人揃ってバカをやってる。片方は美人のくせに壁が厚くて意外と友達が少なくて、そのくせ結構甘えたがりで、片方はどう見てもそうは見えないけど本物の天才ってやつで変態で変態で、でもどっちも僕にとってはかけがえのないなくしちゃいけない存在なんだよ。もう一度笑い合って普通の日々を過ごしたかった妹と友達なんだよ。
Oh god.
それを
I'm gonna cry again.
簡単に諦めることなんてできるわけないだろうが。
The ground crumbles from his shout. His voice brings her to him.
Shizuku.
The siblings are no longer human. They look at each other in silence.
雫、これが最後だ。
Such a calm voice. A voice that calls for the end. They put all their might into their blows. Oh, picture get! Oh god. Countless shadows. Shadows of all shapes and sizes form and attack Mr. Rindo. They strike his legs, arms, and body. They cut, slice, and pierce with each hit. But Mr. Rindo strikes back and carves away at Shizuku's shadow-infused tentacles. Ooh. Oh, another picture get. Their battle can't be stopped. They continue striking each other. The tentacles continue to grow out endlessly, but the end had to be near. A thunderous roar. Mr. Rindo pierces Shizuku's body. A blow that would kill any mortal in an instant. Shizuku's body begins to twitch violently, and then she slowly crumples to the floor. It's obvious that the wound inflicted is critical even to non-humans. There's no doubt who won. Mr. Rindo drags himself up. He slowly walks towards Shizuku and looks down at her.
まるで7年前の続きみたいだな。
Sorrow. Mr. Rindo's expression could only be described with that one word. He's a step away from striking range, a step away from the end. But before he could make that step, a silhouette quickly moved and stood in front of her. He spreads his arms out in defense.
待ってくれ、リンド。
Mikado.
Again, he needs therapy after this. Let's just be honest. This is so traumatic.
もう僕たちの負けだ。すべて諦める。償えることは何でもする。どんなことでも。だから都合のいい願いなのは分かってる。でもどうか雫を殺すことだけは。
Oh. He falls to the ground and grovels, asking for forgiveness. Mikado pleads at the top of his voice, but
できない相談だ、ミカド。さっきの戦闘で琴音ちゃんが僕と同じく呪詛をもらっているはず。
oh snap, I forgot about that.
それを解く術が一つしかないことは 理解しているんだろう。僕にとってのお前たちはかけがえのない存在だ。それはお前と同じなんだよ、ミカド。僕にも同じように命を懸けてでも守りたい人がいるんだ。
Mr. Rindo slowly extends his arm to Shizuku, just before his claw touches her twitching body. Shizuku roars. Surprised that she could still move, Mr. Rindo makes his move to decapitate her head when...
しずく、もういいんだ、しずく。僕たちの負けなんだ。
Mr. Rindo halts seeing Mr. Mikado embrace Shizuku. Then, without warning... No! 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 Oh my god, no! Did she just... A dull sound resonates through the area as Shizuku's claw pierces Mr. Mikado's body.
Mikado!
He lunges forward to help his friend. But Mikado simply smiles and raises his hand.
いいんだ。これでもうしずくには何の力も
No!
残っていないよ。
And just like that, Shizuku's body slowly starts to limp and crumble away. It's as if her body was falling apart like loose sand. Mikado looks at the wound on his abdomen and snickers before falling to his knees.
Mikado.
What?
なんて顔してるんだい。君が殺す手間が省けてよかったじゃないか。それに友達殺しなんて
Oh my god.
やらせたくないからね。
No. No. Blood spills out from his body. Mikado smiles.
いいさ。もともと僕の体は
No.
ボロボロだ。
No.
雫の研究過程における実体実験。まさに身を削ったそれは内臓の大半を壊してついには肉体年齢まで狂わせた。
Mikado, you fucking idiot. Oh
So-
my god, you idiot.
どの道僕は長くはなかった。だからいいんだ。
No, it's not, you fucking fool. We went shopping together and everything, you stupid. Oh. No, no. Mr. Mikado slowly crumples. He falls onto what remains of Shizuku.
雫を人間に戻すことにこだわったのは僕の弱さだった。
Blood spills out of his mouth.
人間でないと幸せになれないのだと僕自身無意識に思っていた。
He musters what little strength he has left to take something out of his pocket.
本当に彼女と一緒に生きたいのならもう一つ方法があったはずなのに誰にも迷惑をかけずにそ その方が
In Mikado's hand is something I'm very familiar with. It's the medicine I gave to Mr. Rindo.
しずく聞こえるかい
Mikado gently speaks. He calls his lover's name as she slowly crumbles away. He talks to her as if he was admitting his love to an inanimate object.
君を人間に戻せないなら僕が君と
No.
同じになればいいもっと早くにこうしていれば君だって苦しくなかったのかもしれない
No.
のに
And with that, Mr. Mikado swallows the metaplasia. But he won't change into a non-human now that he's on the verge of death. Mikado must have swallowed the medicine to show his fate was in his own hands. Even if it was to gain peace of mind.
これでずっと一緒だよしず
No. Mikado lets out a warm and gentle smile before taking his final breath. A whisper can be heard. Oh God. Oh my God, that's so awful. She really was conscious the whole time. She knew what she was doing and she had to fucking do it anyways, and then now that... Oh God. Mr. Rindo watches the life leaving their bodies. They were in love with each other. The end of a human and a non-human. They lived lives that we ourselves could have lived. A sad and tragic fate that could have fallen upon us. Was there really no other way? Mikado had to die? That's the end? No. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm like so... Oh. No. That's not a good ending. This is terrible. Oh my God. What do we do? This is awful. This is literally awful. This is the worst. The fucking route. Like, this is terrible. We fucking... Like, I guess... There must have not been any other way to do it, because Mikado, for Rindo to kill his own sister and then to kill Mikado, I think would have been terrible. But I'm wrecked. I can't. I love how it says fucking Bon Appetit. It's just the final picture of him and his sister fighting it out. Oh, my heart. Who's gonna clean up all this goo on the freaking building? Oh, I just thought of that. Seriously. Oh no. Oh my God. The sky above Enchanté is clear and blue. I'm pouring coffee as I hum my favorite tune.
やれやれ、やっと落ち着いてきたね。
GPM がいつもみたいに俺たち側の騒動を片付けるならいざ知らず。まさか逆に GPM 側の騒動のフォローを俺たちがすることになるなんてさ。
Yeah.
疲労こそありませんが、ここ1ヶ月あちこちと飛び回ったおかげで乙女ゲームをする時間もありませんでした。
Of course.
てめえにとっちゃいい薬になったんじゃねえか。これを機会に引きこもるのやめろってんだ。
Oh, don't say that, Ignis.
ミシェルとイルは功労者なのだから、それくらいの自由は認めてやるべきだろう。それで広がっていた例の呪詛の残滓が全て無事に取り払えたのか。
これはもうバッチリって言っても、放置しても問題ないくらい弱々しいものしか残ってなかったけどね。
Kororo is squeaking with a smile as the regulars carry on with their usual discussions. Mizir turns around in his seat and looks towards me.
君の生活もあれから少し時間が経って落ち着いてきたのかな。
Well, sort of.
ならよかった。でも
All of a sudden, Mizir starts to look visibly depressed.
リンドウのことは残念だったね。
Did Rindo fucking die too? That would literally crush me. Please don't say that. Please no.
ああ、惜しいものをなくしたな。
あいつだってまだまだやり残したことがあっただろうによ。
Oh god.
せめて彼が安らかに眠れるよう私が精一杯祈りましょう。
Everyone closes their eyes in silence.
あのさ、ここぞとばかりに人を亡き者にしようとするのやめてくれないかな。
Oh my god. Mr. Rindo appears with a frown on his face. Don't scare me like that! God!
まったく、カヌスまで悪乗りしちゃってさ。
すまぬな。それで最近の調子はどうだ、リンド。
おかげさまでってわけでもないけど、体の調子としては上々だよ。私生活の方も順風満帆。可愛いマスターが毎日そばにいてくれるおかげでね。
Mr. Rindo walks over to the counter and then stands right next to me. He then gently holds my shoulder and pulls me towards him. Mr. Rindo?
見せつけてくれるな魔王様。胸焼けでうっかりリンドウだけピンポイントで燃やしちゃいそう。そうですか。愛を尊ぶ私としては実に幸せな光景だと思います。
Oh my god, Mizir.
俺は心底どうでもいいな。飯さえ出てくりゃ文句はねえよ。
おや、祝いの品がどうこうと言っていたのはどこの誰だった？
Ignis! Oh.
てめえ、あんだけ言うなって言ったろうが。
That's so cute. Mr. Rindo smiles, seeing the usual patrons go at it as he begins to help me with the chores. So he must work at the cafe now. What? Oh, he must have lived here. No, wait. Yeah, he must have moved in, right? Because he can't be in his apartment. I don't know. After the tragedy had ended, Mr. Rindo began helping me with the chores here at Enchanté. Is he like moving in and getting married or something? Mr. Mikado and Shizuku. Mr. Rindo lost those that were precious to him. Then a month passed. With the death of those two, and the help of Mizir and the gang, the shadow that shrouded the GPM had vanished for good. It seemed like the hex had completely disappeared without a trace of it left behind. Also, being that the GPM couldn't recover their operations immediately, Mr. Rindo, Mizir, and the gang searched the building and infiltrated the No. 2 R&D department. There, they located the research data and the materials that had caused the tragedy. They incinerated everything with no remorse. In doing this, we prevented the existence of the number 2 R&D department from ever being exposed to the public. This was the best chance we had at destroying any information that could potentially cause more tragedies. Unfortunately, those who were consumed by Shizuku went missing, and to this day have not been found. As for the survivors, those who had come in contact with the shadow and inflicted with the hex were able to recover, albeit slowly. Many are unable to explain what had happened. I can only hope Mr. Rindo's younger sister and friend can now rest in peace. And so the truth was just twisted a bit. Incident report. The Type 2 non-human Ku lost control due to probing done by researchers in number 2. As a result, the Type 2 attacked the members of the GPM. Suffering a fatal wound, Kaoru Rindo administered himself a prototype drug to turn into a non-human and save his life. Akira Mikado, who was in charge of the Type 2, assisted in stopping its rampage. Akira Mikado was able to stop the Type 2's rampage in exchange for his life, putting an end to the incident. Mr. Rindo reported this to the authorities as to what happened at the GPM. As for Mr. Rindo, there's no way he can work at the GPM in his new form, so he took a leave of absence and is focusing on his recovery. On the topic of turning back into a human, it really depends on Mazir and the gang, along with the findings of the numerous research organizations. So instead of worrying and thinking about plans for the future, he's here with me every day to help run Café Enchanté. I think about all that's happened while attending to the customers. Before I know it, it's closing time. Closing time! Okay. The regulars have returned to their usual places. Mr. Rindo and I are the only ones left. Mr. Rindo, you've gotten pretty good at cleaning up the place.
伊達に一人暮らしが長くないんでね。と言ってもこの腕じゃちょっとやりづらいけどさ。あとそんな顔しないで。自虐とかじゃなくて単なる感想だよ、感想。
I'm not sure if I believe you. You worry me all the time, you know. We casually chat with each other like this throughout the day until we come to an obvious discussion. Mr. Rindo, you haven't decided whether you're going back to the GPM or not, right?
まあね。向こうから復帰してくれって散々連絡が来てるんだけど、こんな被験体があのビルをカッポしたらしたで、また別のトラブルにならないかなって。
I see. Mr. Rindo, I know it's odd for me to ask, but I just hope you put yourself first and make the right call for your future, okay?
そうだね。でもいっそアンシャンテの正式な従業員になるのもありかも。僕考案の雫ブレンドもなかなか好評みたいだし。
Oh, that's so sweet. Mind you, your Mikado blend needs a bit more work. Mr. Rindo created original coffee blends named after the two. As long as I'm the owner of Enchanté, and as long as Mr. Rindo's memories don't fade away, the two will live here forever.
それでなんだけど、みんなも言ってた通り、そろそろあれから1ヶ月が経つよね。
Since what? I let out a bewildered look to his somewhat abrupt question.
今までずっとさ、今後のこと以上に優先して考えたことがあったんだ。
I love you. And doesn't matter if you're human or not. I love you because of who you are, Mr. Rindo.
It's always a flashback, you know?
結局あの時はちゃんと返事をしなかったから。 どういう言葉で君の言葉に答えるべきか。
Oh man, are we about to be confessed to? Oh! Picture get! Oh, yay! Before I know it, I feel something warm on my lips. Mr. Rindo, after all that suffering and anxiety over our differences as humans and non-humans, he finally made the move. He kisses me passionately as if he needs me. He moves his lips away and gently smiles while I try to get my mind settled.
前回は君に押されっぱなしだったからね。その名誉挽回とは言わないけど、あの時にもらった君からの強い思いに僕もちゃんと応えたいと思ったんだ。
She's speechless. His words in action. I can feel my heart pounding.
人ならざる身になったことにまだ不安はある。これから先人間である君との差を思い知って打ちひしがれる時も来るかもしれない。もし僕が人間のままだったらって何回も悔やむ時が来るかもしれない。でも
His face isn't even fully human anymore. Even so, Mr. Rindo lets out the most gentle and kind smile I've ever seen from him.
そんな不安があってもやっぱり僕は君が好きだ。
Mr. Rindo. Mr. Rindo continues after hearing my shaking voice.
必ず幸せにするなんて先の見えない今の僕には言えない。
Flashback, of course.
I mean, think about it. Our ages are pretty different, which means we could spend our time together that much longer now. All I ask is that you don't try to put distance between us over something we don't know. When you don't know about Enchanté, my normal isn't normal anymore.
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
信じるって約束はできる。君が描いた前向きな未来が少しでも僕らの元に訪れること。こんないびつな僕の手でも君は手をつないでくれるのかな。
Unbelievable. Is that even a question? You should have done this a lot sooner.
あれ割と本気めのお怒り？それは本当にごめん。だって僕も一応は万が一にも振られるのが怖かった。普通の男だからさ。でも君がそう言ってくれた以上、もう遠慮はいらないよね。
Oh, yay! This time it's consensual. We kiss because we want to. I love you, Mr. Rindo. No matter what you do, no matter how you look. I love you because of who you are. My pure and true feelings for you. I kissed for you with all my heart. Woo! I realize I can't. Can I even use this picture as the thumbnail? I feel like it's gonna be such a big spoiler for anybody who's like never seen Rindo's Reap before. Oh god. Oh. Again? It must do this every time. Prologue 3. Tu fui ego eris. When was it? When he came here. I believed it would be the same at first. That he would just die like the others had. Duo. Who? Who's gonna die? A new prologue is now unlocked. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Oh my god, guys. I can't. I feel like I've said so much about Rindo's route. I'm not really gonna continue talking about it, but wow. That was a roller coaster ride from start to finish. I honestly have no idea how I was able to fucking hold it together because, I mean, I clearly didn't. I was crying for like half of the fucking route. Oh god, I'm so sad that Mikado actually freaking died. Like, oh, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. But next episode, we will be finally going to Ignis's route. I know I promised that. I'm absolutely going to do that because Ignis is great. He's such a sassy little piece of trash. He's not a piece of trash, but I'm really excited to see what his route's all about. I feel like it probably won't be as edgy as Rindo's, right? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out next episode. So see you guys then.